morning, everybody. What's going down, y'all? Happy Saturday morning. So it's beautiful out here today, man, and we're gonna get into another pit bike edition. So I'm out here messing around, man. I'm just trying to check on some things, dude. We all know I found this thing. I got it for free. Somebody was throwing it away, so I took off my little drive cover. Now I'm looking. We got some slack here, which is a good thing. I mean, it's not really bad to have slack like that. My bearing came out of my housing. You see, I took my house, see that bearing there? That one should have stayed in there, but it didn't. Now, I was gonna try to get it off, but it does spin free. So at that point, I really don't see the need in trying to take it off and maybe mess the bearing up or bend the drive shaft coming from the engine. Now, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna get my screwdriver and scrape all this old grease out. I got some heavy duty grease in my grease gun. We're gonna re-grease everything. We'll put it back together. I'm gonna check on that tube. We're gonna try to get the front wheel back on that thing and give it a little spin this morning. So that is the plan. And I know I've had some comments about the pit bike. I'm trying to get some more content out about it. So that's what's up, man. So let's get into greasing this thing, seeing what we can get going with it. Maybe give it a little ride today, and then that'll be what's up. So stick around, sit back, enjoy yourself, and I'll be right back. So man, I had to fire it up. You know, it's been almost a month. Thing still runs good, still sounds good. Let's watch this thing spin. That's a lot of slack, man. So, we're gonna lose it. It's gonna fall off of there. Let me kill it real quick. So, that is a lot of slack in that chain. And there's not an adjustment. So what to do? Maybe if I pack it full of grease. I'm not really sure right now, guys. I know that seemed like a lot of slack. That's enough for that chain to slip. It looks like there's some metal shavings in there, so it's probably slipped a few times. I mean, you gotta understand, dude, I'm overweight to be riding this thing. I think max weight's like 120 pounds or something, and I'm running like 175. But with that, man, so I wanted to give y'all a quick shot of it running. You know, I guess kind of show y'all that it does still run, and to show myself it still runs. Like I said, it's been about a month. It's just been sitting in the garage here. Now, so let me get my grease out, and we're gonna clean all this out. I'm gonna post y'all up, and I'm gonna clean all this out, put some new grease in there, put it back together, and then we're gonna move on to something else. So, I just want to give you all that quick shot. Let me show you this crooked sticker. I noticed it yesterday in the video. Man, it's crooked, but it does look good. All right, so here it is, man. Here we go. So I just got me a little throwdown screwdriver and a rag. I just want to scrape all this old out of here. That's a lot of nastiness right there. So let's get rid of that as much as I can. I mean, look at it, dude. It's like burnt in there. Look at how gross that is. So, baby boy. Now I want to try to get as much of this out as possible, so I can go back with new. That's the purpose of it, go back with new. Try to get some of the big off of there, and then we'll see about running this rag around in here. It'd probably be better if we did it like this. Just stick that screwdriver end in there. Look at that. That works a lot better, actually. Yeah, that works real well. I just want to try to get as much of that old out as I can. I'm sure it's got little metal shavings. Like I stated, man, you can see where that chain has jumped this sprocket a couple times. Probably just kind of wearing them teeth right off of that old sprocket. Ooh, that was a good one. So, try to get all that old off of there. Same with the case here. I have the case here. Just want to get, I mean, truthfully guys, we just want to get the big out of here, man. We'll replace it with the new. I mean, it's going to go back to the same. As long as the big's out of there, I think it'll be okay. The new grease will compensate for what little bit's left in there, and it won't be a big deal. Boom, got it. So let me clean this up a little bit more. We'll click you back on. Well, we got it all cleaned out, man. Well, as good as I'm gonna get it. So I have heavy duty grease in my grease gun. This is what we're gonna do here. We're just gonna pump some in there on that chain. Just like that. And then we're gonna spin it. That'll get it on the back side of that bearing, right? Put a little more in there. Probably gonna take a few pumps. Get that back behind that bearing, right? Put some on the inside of that chain. So to get on that sprocket, look at that. Now we're getting some in there. Now this here, you kind of want that so that chain will stay lubed throughout the whole run. Now we are gonna put a lot more in there, right? We're gonna do it like that. I want some grease in there. I want this thing spinning in grease, but I don't want enough, you know, that it's oozing all out. It's not a gasket sealed situation. You see how it grabs it and spreads it out? Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're looking for, fellas. There we go. There we go. We're gonna get it on everything, man. I want it back behind here. We're gonna try to get some back behind here. If I can work it back there. Trying to get it everywhere. We might have to get a screwdriver and kind of smear it around, but if you see, it's starting to go where we want it to go, which is making me happy. We definitely want to keep it greased. Definitely. We're just gonna keep adding until I feel like I'm happy with it. I know one thing, you're not gonna have too much grease. Spin this bearing, make sure that bearing's got some good grease in it. Make sure it's behind here, you got that shaft back there. And if you don't grease that shaft, I mean, that could be bad. And I did take that screwdriver and clean all this stuff out. So I'm gonna finish greasing this up. I'll give you one final shot. Actually, it'll be the shot whenever we put the cover back on. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease in the cover and then we'll get it going. And then like I stated earlier, that tire, if the tube will hold air, we're gonna put it together and ride this bad boy. Here's what we came up with, man. So I just kind of followed the grease that was already in there. So I packed it in there tight at the bottom, right? So when that chain slaps around, it'll spread grease. So I put some behind the sprocket there to lube the shaft going to the chain right here. And then I also put some back there behind that to lube the shaft going into the engine. So the same with the cover. The cover's gonna fit on there like this. So that's the bottom. I followed where the grease was already touching right here and just put some more in there. Now, we're gonna slap it back together and make it happen and see how good it sounds once I put it all back together with all the extra new and fresh grease. Now there is one more thing I want to do real quick. We'll just dab a little grease out of here, right? And I want to put it on the face of this bearing. Actually, I got a little bit right there. Look, we're just gonna put a little bit on that face. Ooh, excuse me. Just like so. Now let's get to pushing this thing back on there. I did have to kind of work it off because of the bearings. So I'm adding. There we go. Simple as that. I figured it'd fight me a little more than that, but hey, sometimes it just works out. Wipe this excess off. We don't want grease going everywhere. Put our bolts back in here. So it's short bolt here, short bolt here, like so. The long bolts go in the middle for this cover here. And then you have 2 more short bolts on the back. It pretty much don't get any more simple than that, fellas. They're 8mm. I hadn't tried my 5/16, so I'm not sure if that works or not. But the 8mm does work. Let's run them in there. And I do have some more stickers to put on the bike. I just have to get some transfer tape and put on there so I can transfer them from the sticker paper to the bike. Kind of like we did the front number plate yesterday. Now I'm going to use the same method. I don't really think that it matters, but it's also a good practice. So we're just going to run them in until they're tight, tighten the middle up, and work our way out. It's just good practice. Like I said, I don't think it matters. There it goes. See, it's popping on there nice. Got that grease squeezing out, which means we got plenty, in my opinion. Because if you didn't have plenty, then it wouldn't be squeezing out. There we go. And that sounds so much nicer in there. So cool. Now, on to the next step. Okay, so it's holding decent anyway, at least enough to rot it a little bit, which is always a nice thing. So we're gonna put this tire back on. Now you have 2 spacers, right? One for each side of the wheel here. And let me tell you, they're fun to get in there. So this is how we're gonna do this. This is my second time. I figured it out the first time. We're gonna slide one on. Push that bolt back to where it's flush. And then here we go. This is the fun part here, because everything's got to be straight. And them forks turn. Once they don't have that shaft in there, they turn, right? So when they turn, then you got to fight it. So, like I said, this is the absolute funnest part of this whole thing. Is trying to get this in here and get it lined up. Now once you get it like that, see? Now you have the other issue of your shaft inside your hub that moves around. So the way you take care of that, get something smooth. You don't want a flatbed, maybe a Phillips, and go in the other side here, right? And move it around until your wheel goes in. See, now it went through. Time to stick the other spacer in there. So the other spacer, it's a little bit easier because your wheel's pretty much mounted already. So you're gonna have to pull your fork out a little bit. And once you push it up in there like so, then you line it up, use your same tool. And boom, there it is. It's in there. Spacers are on. Put your nut back on there, and there it is, man. So let me finish tightening this up. We're gonna put some air in both tires. I'll set y'all up. We'll rip it around real quick, and then that'll be it. All right, let's see if we can ride it and hold this camera. Look at that thing, we're rolling now. Whoa, we're getting a little, getting a little wobbly here, y'all. Take a look at this thing while we're rolling. Getting it, man. We're just riding around the apartment right now, trying not to crash, holding this camera. So, we got it going. It runs. It sounds better with new grease in the gears. So I'm happy with that, man. But I'm gonna finish riding this thing, put this camera in my pocket. We do have to get a front tube, it's still leaking. But that'll be at a later date, man. We're just trying to get this thing out and ride it. So, with all that, man, keep living the dream, doing your thing. Like and subscribe. Always drop your boy a comment. And I'm gonna finish riding this little pit bike.